A special thanks this week to Rav Jake Wiedemlansky and Rav Nathanael Leibowitz. As well, the first portion of what I'm going to say today comes from Rav Baruch Simon in his Sefer Imre Baruch. So in this week's parsha, Parshas Tetzaveh, the Torah asks and answers a very famous question. You won't see the name Moshe appear at all in this week's parsha, which is an anomaly because this doesn't happen throughout Moshe's life. From the time he's born until the end of the Chumash, Moshe's name appears, except for this one instance in Parshas Tetzaveh. So why is that? Explains the Torah. Next week, when we read about Chet Egel, the golden calf, Moshe, in order to save the Jewish people, says, Mecheni na misifrecha, if you won't save the Jewish people, I don't want to be alive. I am one with the Jewish people. If they go, I go. Now, God acquiesced to Moshe's request, but a tzaddik who makes a klala, gives a klala, even if al-tnai, even if it's a conditional klala, it still comes. It's still kayam. That's why you won't see the name Moshe appear. There's another reference or connection to Chet Egel in this week's parsha. The Gemara in Zvachim, in Kuf Beis Amud Aleph, Rabbi Yossi says that initially Moshe was destined to be the Kohen Gadol, and his family and his progeny were going to continue to pick up that mantle of being the Kohanim. They were going to have the Kahuna. At which point did Moshe lose out on the opportunity to be the Kohen Gadol? Rabbi Yossi explains when Hashem is trying to speak to Moshe to send him on his initial shlichus to redeem the Jewish people and take them out of slavery in Egypt, Moshe has a stream of arguments, and after the final argument when he says, Shlach na biyati shlach, send who you normally send Aaron, God gets upset with him. Vayichar af Adonai b'Moshe, vayomer halo Aaron achicha halevi, yadati ki yadaberhu, v'gam hinei hu yotze likurtecha v'avisamach b'libo. Why would you want me to send Aaron? Because Moshe wanted God to send Aaron who he was afraid would be jealous. And God says, what are you talking about? He's not going to be jealous. He's going to be happy. The pasuk there refers to Aaron Achicha Halevi, the Levi. The Gemara says, Rashi quotes, Aaron until now was supposed to be Levi, and you were supposed to be the Kohen Gadol. Now Aaron's going to be the Kohen Gadol, and you're going to be the Levi. Moshe lost out on the kahuna at that point in time. However, at Chet Egel, which Aaron played an instrumental part in, it was his creation, God got upset with him too, and he was going to take the kahuna away from him, until Moshe himself stepped in and saved that status for Aaron. As Moshe recounts at the end of Sefer Dvar in Parshas Ekev, in Perek Tet Pasuk Kaf, Ube'aharon hit anaf Adonai me'od lahashmido. Hashem wanted to destroy Aaron. Bet palel gam be'ad Aharon ba'itahi. And I daven for Aaron too. Says the Kli Yakar in this week's parsha, Ve'ata hakrev elecha. Et Aharon achicha. Says the Kli Yakar, it was here, this hakrev elecha, bring Aharon close to you, hakrev elecha. This was the tefillah that Moshe is referring to in Parshas Dvarim, in Parshas Ekev and Sefer Dvarim, that Moshe davened to Hashem. What was the tochen of the tefillah that Moshe davened for? Explains the Kli Yakar. He said, if you destroy Aaron, you're destroying me. He's my brother, he's my flesh and blood, it's like you're destroying my flesh. Which is exactly the same argument and the same tefillah that Moshe said on behalf of his sister Miriam in Parshas Baloscha when she spoke ill of him. Moshe saved the kahuna that was going to transfer back to him. He said, no, Aaron must keep it. What a beautiful act. Moshe was given the task of inaugurating the Kohanim, Aaron and his children. He performed. He was the Kohen Gadol for 7 days, and he lost out on it. I know that that Star Trek guy, Patrick Stewart, is very famous for saying it is better to love it to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. However, Moshe was made to feel that pain. When you have something and it's taken away from you, he really knew what it was like to be in Kohen Gadol, and he was going to miss out on it. And he was the one who actually perpetuated missing out on it, not only once, but twice. The first time when he upset God, the second time when he prayed on behalf of his beloved brother so that he could save the kahuna for Aaron. Because Moshe worked past his kina. He wasn't a Baal Chemda, Baal Taiva, Baal Kina. He buried the hatchet. Rav Sorotzkin explains this pasuk here in our parsha, the beginning of the parsha. V'ata hakrev elecha taron achicha. Hakrev elecha means not to you, but tachtecha, or bishvilcha, bimkomecha, in your stead. Bring him close to you in your stead, bishvilcha. Just like Rashi in many places in Chumash says, li, to me, or for me, or about me. It has varying interpretations. So, ata hakrev elecha means bimkomecha. It was here, in this week's parsha, in this pasuk, do we see the chiba yatera, the love and camaraderie and brotherhood that Moshe shared with his brother, that even though the kahuna could have transferred back to him, he wanted his brother to keep it. So we have two references to Chet Egel in this week's parsha, both in Moshe's absence, the name Moshe, as well as in the beginning where it says Ve'ata hakrev elecha. Rav Simon explains that's the reason why Moshe doesn't appear in this week's parsha, because he was mevatel himself to nothing. He was mevatel himself to his brother, so that his brother could be the Kohen and not him. That's why his name doesn't appear here. This pasuk, Hakrev Elecha, represents the love that Aaron has for his brother. Rav Jake explains in a different light this pasuk, Hakrev Elecha. Before we're talking about the Kohen Gadol, before we talk about all these holy avodas and ordinances that the Kohen will have, and the special relationship that he will have with God and represent Am Yisrael in that relationship, bring him to you, Hakrev Elecha. Strengthen your relationship with him, because Avodas Hashem has a preamble, a prerequisite of Bein Adam Lechavero. You have to have a close relationship with others in order to have a close relationship with me, says God. Like the Chavetz Chaim, there's a story told of the Chavetz Chaim in Simchas Torah, when his Talmidim were dancing and so fervent in their devotion and their dancing to Hashem, they wanted to pick up the Chavetz Chaim on their shoulders and dance with him. And they went over to him. He got upset. He said, no. Pasuk says, Hakrev Elecha. I want to dance with you. I don't want to be above you. There's no such thing. The unity is what's important. We see this concept of the parallel between man and man and God, and those are two relationships in the Luchos. We had two sets of Luchos. The first 5 commandments were between man and God, and the second set of Luchos, the second Luach, was man and man. Rav Natanel points out that they parallel each other in that 1 is opposite 6 and it's opposite 10. And 2 is opposite 7 and it could be opposite 9. However, you can flip them around. And if you look at 1 versus 10, 1 is Anochi Hashem Elokecha, and 10 is Lo tachmod beit re'echa. Don't be jealous, because when you're jealous of someone, it's as if you're saying, I'm a God. I know better than God. I know how things should be distributed. God didn't decide properly how things should be distributed. That's a source of kina, of saying things aren't right. I don't have what I'm supposed to have. It's interesting that the first 5 commandments are very lengthy in their words, and the second 5 are very, very concise, short and to the point. As we see, Lo tirtzach, Lo tin'af, Lo tignov, Lo ta'aneh b're'echa shaker. 11 words, that's it. But the last one, the final commandment of between man and man, Lo tachmod beit re'echa, Lo tachmod eshet re'echa, v'avdo, v'amato, v'sharo, v'chamoro, v'chol asher l're'echa. It doubles up the amount of words. Why did the Torah have to go into more detail? Why did the Luchos all of a sudden have to extend in their words? We had something going here. We had a rhythm. Why was that ruined? Because the Torah is giving us not just, how can you command someone not to feel jealousy? Not to feel. It's natural. We're human. We see things and we want them. And when others have them, we might feel lacking. So the Torah is telling us a way that we can defeat that feeling. Lo tachmod beit re'echa. Don't focus and be jealous of your friend's house. But if you do, then look at him completely, his whole life. Lo tachmod eshet re'echa. Look at his wife, v'avdo, v'amato, v'sharo, v'chamaro, v'chol shel re'echa. Look at everything he has, his wife, his children, his business, his home, everything. Do you want to be him? Do you want to lose yourself and be him? Because that's the way God set things up. He gave you everything you need. And it's a unique and complex combination. And if you wanted to have that one thing of his, you have to take everything. Famously said in NCSY that if everybody throws in their own pekale of problems and they want to choose a different one, they're going to choose their own. They don't want to deal with other people's problems. So the Torah is telling us, how do you avoid kinna? You look at the whole of the person. And this works two ways. Number one, as a detractor, because I don't want the same problems that he has and the same struggles that he has. Maybe I'm smarter, maybe I'm richer, maybe there's so many things I could have going for me, and I want that one other thing, but I have to take everything. Okay. But on the other hand, what it's telling us, like what we see from here in Akreve Lecha, is we look at Moshe and how Moshe looked at his brother, and he had something that he wanted. He wanted that kahuna desperately, but he looked past it. He looked at his brother. He noticed, this is my flesh and blood. I want the best for him. I love him. And he got past the kinna. Because kinna can be detracted in this way as well, by looking and seeing the whole person, not only what he has, but who he is, and being mo'orer, the ava for him, to bypass the kinna. You hear it some of the that we will be happy with our lot in life, that we will appreciate it and thank God for it, that we should look at others and feel verbringen, be mefargen for them, feel the simcha towards them, establish true friendships and relationships to help ourselves and our friends reach our goals and tafkidim in this world. Good Shabbos, good Purim.